And so the Satipatthana instruction, Buddha gave how to practice Satipatthana. So we recite it every morning. Right? Kaya kaya nupasi viharati atapi sampajana satima vinaya lokya bijato manasam. So, this instruction, 3 parts. Okay, so the first part, kaya kaya nupasi viharati. So yogi dwells continuously noting body in the body, feeling in feelings, consciousness in consciousness, Dhamma in Dhammas. Okay, this is the first part. Okay, so this first part, in this first part, the Buddha showed us how to note the object. Okay, so we have already covered this part. So basically, dwell continuously noting body in the body. So basically, it means noting needs to be continuous. Okay, so you need to note moment to moment to moment continuously, without any gaps in the noting. And secondly, the noting needs to be precise. Okay? In order to discern clearly metaphysical realities underlying the sense experiences. Okay? So discern it in a clear-cut manner. Discern the nature exactly as they are. Okay? Second part of the instruction, right? Buddha says, Atapi sampajana satima. Okay? So, with ardent effort, accurate clarity, and firm mindfulness. Okay? So in this second part, so first part Buddha told us how to note. We have to note moment to moment continuously, okay, precisely. But in this second part, Buddha is telling us, each moment when we note, okay, what are the mental states that are involved in the work of noting. Okay, so whenever we note the object in each moment, what are the mental states that must be present to carry out the work of noting. Now, there are many mental states that are involved in the work of noting. Okay? But in the sutta, Buddha only lists out the 3 most important ones. Okay? Atapi, Sampajano, and Satima. So Atapi, ardent effort. Okay? The yogi must possess this ardent effort, or atapavirya. Right? Now, this ardent effort denotes intense, burning effort. Okay? So this word atapi is related to another word, atapa, which means the heat of the sun. So, heat of the sun, as you all know, it's very intense. Okay, so you stand under the heat of the sun, very intense heat of the sun. Your skin will be burned. So sometimes even forest fire can happen because of such intense heat of the sun. So atapa virya, this quality of atapi, means the effort that is intense, so intense that it's able to burn away all the mental defilements from the mind. Okay? So you can think of it as the purifying energy. Okay? So this is the energy that purifies the mind from the mental defilements, burn them away. Okay? So the work of purification of the mind. So Satipatthana, purpose is Sattana Visuddhiya, for the purification of beings. Okay? This means for the purification of the mind of beings. Okay? And the work of purification of the mind requires ardent effort. Okay? Intense, burning effort. Okay? It's like purifying a gold. You go and mine for gold. Straight out of the gold mine, the gold is not pure. You get gold ore, which is gold mixed with a lot of impurities. Okay? So you want to purify the gold. What must you do? Okay? You have to burn it. Okay? You have to throw it into the furnace and apply very intense heat. Burn it. Burn until it melts. Okay? So once the ore melted, the pure gold will separate from the impurities. Okay? So similarly, in our mind, okay? So we need to, in order to purify the mind, to separate the mind from the defilements, you need to exert ardent, energetic effort every moment. Okay? So exert intense effort to free the mind from the mental defilements, particularly the mental defilements that are the root cause of suffering, dukkha. Okay? So there is avijja, tanha, upadana, okay? Ignorance, craving, attachment, clinging. Okay? These are the three defilements that drives the process of dependent origination. On and on and on. One rebirth after another, one existence after another. Birth, aging, disease, death, again and again. Okay? So only by purifying the mind from this avijja, tanha, upadana, can we free the mind from dukkha. Okay? So it's like launching a rocket into space, right? You want to launch a rocket into space. Okay? So that means you have to work against the gravitational pull of the earth. Okay? So in order to do that, so you need to burn a lot of fuel, right? So you see the way when they launch the rocket, just for the rocket to lift off from the ground, how much fuel they have to burn, right? And that's just to lift off, right? So the moment it lifts off, you cannot cut off the fuel. Okay? You have to continue to burn, because the gravity is still pulling. Okay? So you have to keep burning and burning and burning, so that the rocket that push further and further into space until finally is far enough to escape from the gravitational pull. So similarly, in our practice, we are trying to escape the gravitational pull of samsara. Okay? What are these? Avijja, tanha, upadana. Right? They are pulling us back into samsara. Okay? So, and this avijja, tanha, upadana, they have very deep roots in the mind. Okay? Don't underestimate the fact that you're all still trapped in samsara. How long? Samsara is without a discernible beginning. That's how long we have all been trapped here. So, this shows how powerful this avijja, tanha, upadana are. Okay? Don't underestimate. Don't think, a bit craving, never mind. Okay? Pull you back very, very fast. Okay? Even very experienced yogi, one moment sleep mindfulness, pull back. Okay? So in order to escape from the gravitational pull of samsara, we have to exert effort continuously. Okay? Exert effort. Even just to begin the practice needs a lot of effort. Your friend asks you, "Hey, can't go for retreat." "Ayah, cannot lah, I'm very busy lah, this lah, that lah." And then one yogi said, "I cannot go, I cannot come for retreat." Okay? So at first I want to come already, then after last minute cancel. Later on I find out I went for holiday. You see, holiday more important than you'll be free from suffering. So just overcome all these excuses, overcome all the defilements that is preventing you from coming to a retreat. That alone requires a lot of effort. Okay? So you have to decide very firmly. No excuse. I must do it. And you overcome. With determination, you overcome. I must go. One yogi, she has a yearly quota. 1 year, I must go 6 months retreat. So, quota, must fulfill. So every time after retreat, she tick off how much left. So, that's just to begin a retreat. Once you begin your retreat, you start to face, the moment you start your practice, you start to face a lot of hindrances. Right? Sleepiness lah, wandering mind lah, pain lah, hungry lah, I miss my home lah. So all these hindrances arise. You need effort to overcome. Step up effort. Okay? Not continuously, not develop the mindfulness concentration. Okay? Until you overcome all the hindrances. Once you overcome, then the practice becomes smooth. Okay? But that's not the end yet. Don't think, oh, I've done it, then I can relax effort. There's still work to do, a lot more work to do. This is just the beginning, overcome the hindrances. Okay? So once you overcome the hindrances, then you have to start developing insight. One stage of insight after another. Altogether 16 insight knowledges. The journey is very long. Okay? Make longer by your lack of effort. So you have to keep putting effort. Okay? So So the moment you cut off the effort, it pulls you back. Avijja, tanha, upadana, the gravitational force of samsara pulls you back. So, Buddha used the simile of this shore and the further shore, right? You have to swim across. With you make a raft of the Dhamma, and then you have to use your hand and your legs, and you paddle and paddle and paddle to reach the further shore, the Nibbana, which is safe. This shore full of danger, so to escape you must swim across. But the wave keeps sweeping you back. You swim, you think, reach halfway already, I take a rest. The wave will sweep you back. So we must relentless effort. So, until you reach the further shore, that means Maggaphala Nibbana. Then only you relax the effort. So in the spirit of anupassana, what is anupassana? Continuous noting, right? So the effort also must be continuous. Moment to moment there must be this relentless effort to note continuously. In every moment there must be effort to note precisely. Effort to direct the mind, apply the mind precisely on the object in the moment. Also effort to feel the object, explore into the object, discern its nature clearly. Discern it, explore, discern moment to moment to moment. More and more, deeper and deeper into the object. So in order to discern it more and more clearly. So there must also be this courageous effort. Viriya. What is viriya? Effort. Actually is courageous effort. Commentary explain viriya, virasabhavam viriya. Viriya is the state of a warrior or nature of a warrior. So what is the nature of a warrior? Vira, no vira? Warrior. What is the quality of a warrior? A warrior is courageous. So you must have this effort that is courageous, bold, not afraid of difficulty. So you must have this warrior-like effort, courage, not afraid of obstacles and difficulty. Just like the warrior. Warrior is not afraid. When they arrive at the battleground, you look at the enemy, the army over the other side, with all their weapons and their flags and their drums. He don't throw his weapon away and run away. He don't raise the white flag. He stand his ground, ready to make battle, waiting for the signal from his general. The moment the general give the signal, charge, without any hesitation, he charged into the battleground. So, without any concern for even his own life. Courage. Yogi also, you are a spiritual warrior. So that's why Buddha used to strive Appamadena sampadita. Strive with religion. You're like warrior. So, who are the enemy? The army of Mara. So you must be able to face the army of Mara courageously. So don't run away. So a yogi is a person who is not afraid of obstacles in the practice, of difficulty in the practice. Okay? You don't run away, but turn to face whatever difficulty, whatever obstacle, face it courageously. Work hard to overcome. So the more difficult the obstacle is, the harder you work to overcome it. So you must have such courageous effort, okay, in order to overcome all the obstacles that may arise during the practice. Okay? And there will be many obstacles. And you need to overcome it. Okay? Each one as they arise. Okay? Laziness lah, tiredness lah, sleepiness, object not clear, restlessness, doubt, aversion, agitation, due to mosquito, due to heat, due to cold, due to noise. So you must not be overcome by a mosquito. You must overcome the mosquito. A mosquito is one tiny small. You be so big. One mosquito you overcome. How? So you must overcome. So even the delight, mind delighting in thinking, delighting in seeking comfort, seeking the ideal condition to meditate. So these are all hindrances in the mind. Okay? So you must have the courage to take on the instruction given to you. During the interview, the teacher may give you some instruction to follow. Sometimes you give the instruction and then the yogi say, "Ayo Bhante, very difficult. Cannot. That one no courage." It's not like a mouse yogi. You must be like a lion-hearted yogi, brave. Give you new instruction. Very eager, very good, new instruction. So, yes, I will do it. So, this ardent effort is important in our practice. But we also need to know how to make effort. Okay? So how to direct the effort properly. Okay? Often yogis make effort. Yes, it's not that they are lacking in effort. But effort is not properly directed. Okay? Directed to force the mind onto the object. Okay? Or force the object to be clear. So you make effort in this way, you end up with stress and tension, both in the mind and the body. Okay? So when both your mind and body is stressed out, tense, the mind will not be clear. Then the object will also not be clear. Okay? So you must know how to make effort properly in a balanced way. Okay? So as we have explained, the mind needs, the noting mind needs to be soft and relaxed, okay? In order for the object to be clear. Okay? Especially the more subtle objects. And you want to note it clearly, the mind needs to be very soft and relaxed. Okay? Otherwise it will not be clear. The mind is so hard, rigid. We will not be able to discern subtle objects clearly. Okay? It's like the subtle objects are like those, the microscopic holes in a sponge. So you put a piece of ice. Ice is hard, rigid. You put it on the sponge. Can it go through? It cannot go through. But if you pour water, water is soft. You pour it on the sponge, easily it goes through the holes. Right? So the mind also. You want to note subtle object. You need to be soft, relaxed. Then it can tune into the subtle objects. Okay? Yeah, so the mind, the noting mind, needs to be soft and relaxed. Okay, so you can use the relaxation exercise that we mentioned in the first day. Okay, sweep through the body with this soft, relaxed, peaceful awareness. Okay, and then release the tension part by part in the body. Okay, and so in this way you bring the mind to a state of peaceful, soft clarity. Okay? So the mind is become calm, is settled down, is relaxed. Okay? So once the mind is peaceful, is calm, is settled down, don't rest there. Okay? Sometimes yogi, the mind suddenly becomes so calm, so peaceful, wonderful, and then they just rest there. So, and then don't do anything. They don't know. They don't make effort to know. So you do this, you just rest there. Eventually you will fall asleep. Okay? As the energy will go down. Okay? So in that mental space of calm, peaceful settledness, you need to exert the awareness, put in effort, energy into the mind, arouse the mind, okay? Exert it to feel, to explore into the nature of the object. Okay? So noting mind should not only be soft and relaxed, okay, but it needs to also be energetic enough, okay, in order to be effective in investigating, exploring into the nature of the object. Okay? So, but you exert the mind. You make effort from a space of soft, relaxed, peaceful clarity. Okay? So, and you direct the effort to feel, to explore into the nature of the object. Okay? Not make effort to force the mind or force the object to be clear. Okay? So you must learn as yogi. Must acquire the skill to exert the mind in a balanced way. Okay? Soft, relaxed, but energetic, precise, in exploring into the nature of the object. Okay? Now, the second mental states that must be present in every moment of noting, sampajano, or sampajanya, this accurate clarity of mind. Okay? Often they also translate this as clear comprehension. Okay? So sampajanya. The commentary explain it as something like correct, thorough, clear knowing. Okay? So you look at this word sampajanya. So there's the word janya. Okay? And then you add two prefixes, sam and pa. So you get sampajanya. So janya means knowing. Okay? So janya is derived from the root nya. Nya means to know. Okay? So janya means knowing. Okay? And then you add the prefix pa. Pa janya. Pa is intensifying prefix. Okay? So it intensifies the meaning. So not just knowing, not just an ordinary knowing, but clear knowing. Okay? So extraordinary knowing. Okay? So actually the meaning is same as panya. Panya, wisdom, clarity of mind. Okay? Panya also derived from the root nya and the prefix pa. Panya. Okay? So it's the clarity of mind, or clarity of discernment. Okay? So knowing clearly. Then the prefix sam. So the commentary explains this prefix sam in three ways. Okay? So samma, samantato, samanja, pajananto, sampajano. Okay? So samma pajananto, sampajano. Then samantato pajananto, sampajano. And also sammam pajananto, sampajano. So the first one, samma pajananto, sampajano. So pajananto means knowing clearly. Okay? So it's basically wisdom. Okay? So samma means correct. Okay? So you have encountered this word before, samma. Where? Yeah. A4 pa. Homage to the Buddha. Samma Sambuddha. Samma, that one also. Yes, samma. Okay? So in the Eightfold Path also, samma ditti, samma sankappa, samma vaca, samma kammanta, and so on. Okay? Samma, correct or right. Okay? No. So samma pajananto sampajano. Okay? So that means knowing clearly and correctly. Okay? So here correctly, the commentary explained as aviparitam. Okay? Aviparitam means undistorted. So viparitam means something like upside down. So that means upside down means distorted. Okay? So aviparitam means it's not upside down. So it's not distorted. So knowing clearly in an undistorted manner. Okay? So that means discerning correctly exactly as it is. Okay? You discern the object exactly as it is, not in a distorted manner. Okay? For example, the five aggregates, they are impermanent, suffering, and non-self. So you note them exactly as they are, as impermanent, suffering, and non-self, and not in a distorted way, as permanent, pleasurable, and the self. Okay? So whenever you note the object, you must note it exactly as it is. So when you're not rising, so note it exactly rising. It's falling and falling. Okay? So when you're not rising, you notice pushing, then you note that pushing. If tightness, you note tightness. If pressure, you note pressure. Exactly as it appears to the noting mind. Okay? So you notice knowing, you're not knowing. Okay? You notice the noting, you're not noting. Okay? Exactly as it is. Okay? Intention arise, you know intention. Okay? So exactly as it is. Okay? You see arising, you're not arising. Right? You see passing away, you're not passing away. Okay? If you do not see it arising or you do not see it passing away, don't note. That is arising or passing away. Okay? So when it's not clear yet, you cannot discern. So don't try to imagine. Okay? So noting exactly as it is means also without any imagination, without any thinking. Okay? So also without any addition of concepts or ideas that comes with thinking or analyzing. So you note it, not exactly what is there, okay? And nothing else. Okay? No additional thoughts or ideas to the experience. Okay? No commentary to your experience. Okay? So just note the experience as it is, the raw experience. So to discern the object correctly, exactly as it is, okay? So the noting mind needs to be completely open to each experience that is noted. That means it's without any prejudice, any likes or dislikes or bias. So that means the mind must be pure, without any mental defilements that judges or evaluates the object according to the defilements that likes and dislikes. Okay? So also the noting must be sharp and precise. Okay? As we explained last night. So sharp and precise, so that you're able to tell apart all the different mental and physical nature that constitute each experience as noted. Okay? So when you're not rising, pushing, so you note sharp, precise, each pushing. Okay? You notice the noting mind together, then you note pushing, noting. Okay? So the mind is clear, sharp and precise. Okay? Then you can tell apart the mental and physical nature. The pushing is one nature, the noting is another nature. And each pushing is a different Dhamma. So every moment is a new one. Okay? So only when the noting is sharp and precise, then you can discern the experience as it is. Okay? Then you realize it's not a single abdomen, same abdomen that's continuously rising. Okay? That's just the nature of pushing one after another in a series. There's no person that's continuously noting. There's just a series of noting mind, noting each pushing that arise one after another. So when the noting is sharp and precise, then you can see clearly. There's just this different mental, physical nature. Moment to moment. Come and go, rise and disappear. Moment to moment. Okay? So, and as we explained also, precisely also mean precisely in the present moment. Because it's only in the present moment that the mental, physical nature, bare nature, can be discerned clearly. Okay, and not just the bare nature, the nature of impermanent suffering non-self. Okay, so outside of the present moment, it will be just concepts. Okay? So this is samma pajananto, okay, discerning clearly in an undistorted manner. Okay, so not discerning it exactly as it is. Okay, without any addition of thinking, ideas, concept. Okay, so discerning it precisely in the present moment, exactly as it is. Then the second one, samantato pajananto, sampajano. So samantato means thoroughly, discerning clearly and thoroughly. Okay, thoroughly means the commentary says sabbakara pajananina, in all ways. In all manner. Okay? Whenever you discern the object, you must discern it thoroughly, in all ways. Okay? So then only the object will be discerned clearly. Okay? So essentially, this means you need to keep exploring, investigating into the object. You need to persistently note, exploring, investigating clearer and clearer, deeper and deeper into every aspect of the nature of the object. Okay, you don't stop your exploration halfway and say, okay, enough already. So you keep going. Okay? So in the beginning, when you note, so you note rising, falling at first. Even though you keep your mind continuously on it. Okay, all you discern is just concepts, right? Concept of the rising, falling. So it's long and short. It's fast or slow. It's going this way, up and down, left or right, zigzag and so on. Okay? Or the concept of the form or shape. Okay? But just being able to discern, follow the concept is not enough yet. Okay? So don't be happy. Oh, now I can see. Oh, it's long, it's short, it's fast, it's slow. So it's not complete yet. You have to keep exploring, keep noting. Okay. So as you keep noting, rising, falling, gradually, as mindfulness concentration develops, the noting mind becomes clearer and clearer. Then you begin to discern the sabbhava lakkhana, the natural characteristic, first of the material nature. Okay? So you discern pushing, tightness, tension, relaxation, expansion, contraction. So you know, the material nature starts to become clear. Okay. So this rupa sabhava, material nature. Okay. So is this enough? It's not enough yet. Okay? You have to keep going. Okay, as you keep going and all this material nature, pushing, tightness. When your mind is clear enough, at some point you begin to discern. There's not only material nature. There's also that another nature, the quality of knowing or noting. So whenever there's pushing, there is the knowing of the pushing or the noting of the pushing. Okay? Depending on how clear your mind is. Usually in the beginning you notice the noting first, because the noting is more active. Okay? So later on the nature of knowing also will be clear. So then every moment you note, there's object and the mind, object and the mind, object and the mind. Mental nature, nama sabhava, becomes clear. Okay. Is this enough? It's not enough yet. Have you been free from dukkha already? Not yet, right? So it's not enough. So you have to keep going. So you keep going. So after some time you begin to discern conditionality. So because of object there's the mind. Because of object there's knowing. Object there's nothing. There's no object there's no nothing. You see a mental physical nature arising from condition. Because of intention there's stretching or bending, movement. Okay? So you see, you begin to discern arising from condition. Okay? So is this enough? It's not enough yet. Still not free from dukkha. So keep noting. Eventually you can see the disappearance. Not just the arising, but also the disappearance. Okay? These are all conditioned nature, arising, disappearance. These are called sankhata lakkhana. The characteristic of conditioned things. All things that are conditioned has this nature, arising and disappearing. Okay? And the suitable condition present, they arise. And whatever arises will pass away, will disappear. So when your mind is clear enough, you can discern moment to moment, arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing. Sankhata lakkhana. Okay? Is this enough? Not enough yet. Okay? You have to keep noting, exploring. That's why thoroughly, in all ways. So this is not enough. Go on, noting. Not arising, disappearing. So when you note continuously this process of arising, disappearing, gradually you begin to realize the nature of impermanent suffering non-self. Okay? This is called samanya lakkhana, okay? The universal characteristic. Okay? So, is this enough? Not yet. You have to keep exploring, discerning deeper and deeper and deeper. To deepen the insight into impermanent suffering non-self. Okay? So you have to keep discerning deeper and deeper as you progress through all the different stages of Vipassana knowledge. Okay, so that the knowledge becomes more and more mature, more and more complete. Okay, until finally, and you realize Magga Phala Nibbana, then only complete. So samantato pajananto, discerning clearly, thoroughly in all ways. Okay, they have to keep exploring, noting non-stop. That's why we drill you in the interview. Okay, every time you go in interview, the most important question we ask you: what do you observe? So we are drilling you so that in your practice you keep observing, keep noting non-stop. Okay, you don't keep noting, you cannot answer during the interview. Okay, so actually in the interview you are supposed to report what you observe. Okay, so not wait for me to ask you. You are supposed to report. Okay, what you observe in the walking meditation, lifting, pushing, facing. What you observe in the sitting meditation, rising, falling, or sitting, touching, and then the secondary object. What you observe, okay, in the daily activities. What do you observe when you carry out the activity? So you have to select one activity and report it thoroughly, what you observe. Okay? Daily activity, what you observe is not just I stretch my hand, I touch this, I take this, I bring it. This one don't have to come for retreat. This one you're not in a retreat also you know, right? You have to report thoroughly what you observe. Stretching, so what you observe is intention, so pushing, intention, pushing, intention, pushing. So you have to report clearly what you observe continuously, moment to moment. So you have to be noting carefully, moment to moment. Then only you can tell the story. Your adventure in taking a tissue. So you have to tell the whole story. So like watching a movie, you watch with interest, a very interesting story you watch, then you know everything that happened. Later on, somebody asks you, how's the movie? Or you can tell the whole plot. From beginning to the end. First this person do this, then this person come and then he interrupt and then he do this and that until the end of the story. So when you watch this like a movie happening, the saga of you taking a piece of tissue. So in your interview you must report. So samantato pajananto, thoroughly in all ways, you must discern clearly. And then third one is samam pajananto sampajano. Okay? Samam means evenly. Okay? So you know clearly, but in an even manner, evenly. Evenly means you keep the mind balanced. Okay? So this shows, this last one actually shows how sampajanya, this accurate clarity, it comes about only when the noting mind is balanced. Okay? That's only when the noting mind is balanced. Then only it can be guided precisely onto the nature of the object. Clearly. Okay? So, in particular, we talk about the balance between viriya and samadhi. Okay? So viriya is the active, energizing aspect of the noting mind. So it exerts the mind, it energizes the noting mind. Okay? Give it strength. Okay? Samadhi is the more calming aspect, tranquilizing aspect of the noting mind. It calms down the mind, settles down the mind, and focuses it. Okay? So both this aspect must be present in the noting mind. Okay? When you note, you need the mind to be energetic, to do the work of noting, exploring, investigating into the nature of the object. But you also need the mind to be calm, relaxed, focused, okay? So that it can settle down and remain fixed on the object. Otherwise, it cannot remain fixed on the object. It's unsettled. You cannot investigate the nature of the object clearly. Okay? So both aspects are needed. Okay? But you need the right degree of each. Okay? Just the right degree of viriya to exert the noting mind, to do the work of noting, taking note, investigating. Okay? Just the right degree. It must not be too much. Too much of viriya, you end up with tension. Okay? So, you will cause unsettledness in the mind also. Okay? Because you cannot control it. Too much energy. But, so it must not be too much. Not too little also. Too little, the mind becomes lazy. Don't want to work. Okay? So viriya must be just the right degree. Okay? To do the work of noting. That's why you must know how to direct the viriya. To do the work of noting, investigating, exploring. Okay? So, then samadhi also must be just the right degree to keep the mind calm enough, settled enough, so that it can remain fixed on the object. Okay? Not too much. Okay? Too much of samadhi, the mind becomes too still, too calm. It becomes like frozen. It's not working, frozen, because it's too still. Like butter you put in the fridge, frozen. So you cannot spread it on the bread easily. Right? So not too much of samadhi. Not too little also. Too little, the mind cannot settle down. Cannot remain fixed on the object. You will be easily distracted. Okay? So just the right degree to settle the mind onto the object so that it can remain fixed on the object. Okay? And so you need the right balance of each viriya and samadhi. Okay? And they each counter each other, their nature. counter each other. Okay, so that's why too much samadhi, you counter it with viriya. The mind becomes too calm, you add the viriya to exert the mind, so that it becomes balanced again. Not too calm, not too peaceful. Okay, you stir it up with energy. Otherwise, it becomes too peaceful. Okay, too much viriya, you counter it with samadhi. You calm down the energy, tranquilize the energy. Okay? So in our practice, you must learn to balance the noting mind. Okay. So to learn to balance, first you must learn to recognize the state of balance and imbalance. How the mind feels like when it's balanced and when it's imbalanced. How does it feel like when there's too much energy or too little energy? Too much samadhi or too little samadhi. Okay? You need to feel it. Learn to feel it recognize it in your practice. Okay? So, too much energy. The mind tense. Too much energy, like out of control. Tension. Too little, lazy. So, I don't want to work. Resist effort. Okay? Resistance to making effort. Okay? So too much samadhi, the mind frozen. Peaceful, very nice, but not doing anything. Too little, very easy to distract the mind. Even the bird singing over there, the mind go there, distracted very easily. Okay, so you must recognize. Once you can recognize, then you can take steps to balance. Okay, so when it's balanced, you know the state of balance. The mind is comfortable, relaxed, but at the same time is active, is noting, is exploring clearly, moment to moment. Okay? So the object is clear. Yeah. So these are the meaning of sampajanya. So accurate clarity. Okay? So accurate. So this is samma, undistorted. So when it's accurate, the mind is able to discern it in an undistorted manner, because it's very accurate. You see it exactly as it is, accurate. Okay? So, and it also implies thoroughness, because only if you are thorough in a noting can the noting be accurate. Okay, the knowledge will be accurate. Okay, so sampajanya is accurate clarity. Okay, so, and the third quality, mental state is satima. So, mindfulness. Okay. So, here the commentary explains this mindfulness as it says, kaya parikahikaya satya samanagato. So that means the yogi possesses this mindfulness that completely lay hold, take hold of the object. Okay? Mindfulness that completely take hold of the object. Okay? So that means it's a firm mindfulness. Okay? So mindfulness we have already discussed earlier. So it's this pure awareness, deep awareness, awareness that's always face to face with the object, continuously exploring into the object. Okay, so this non-forgetful awareness that never forget the object, never abandon it. So. Yeah, so because we have already discussed it earlier, we will not go through this again. Okay. So every moment when you note, there must be these three qualities of mind, three mental states. Okay, this ardent effort, accurate clarity, and firm mindfulness. Okay, so. Of course, in the beginning there may not be so much of clarity. So in the beginning, you have to make effort to keep bringing up the mindfulness, to keep noting, moment to moment, accurately, precisely, continuously. Okay? As you do so, gradually the sampajanya will develop. Okay? So you just keep noting. Okay? Yogi have only one work to do all the time. Noting. Your job is so simple. Only noting. You have the simplest job in the world. Don't even need to think. Just note. Just take note what is there. Right? So, So these three mental states is what is present in each moment of noting, or what should be present in each moment of noting. So ardent effort, accurate clarity, firm mindfulness. But actually, it's not just these three. Okay, actually. The noting mind has so many other mental states as present. Okay, there's this Chaitana, volition that motivates the noting mind to note. Okay, there's Manasikara that turns the noting towards the object. Okay, there's the Vitaka that applies. There's vichara that sustain. There's ekagata, one-pointedness that fix on the object. There's sanya that perceive, recognize the object. Okay, and so on. So there are many other mental states that are present. Okay? But the three that the Buddha mentioned is the most important one. So that's why the Buddha mentioned that. Okay? Does not mean that others are not present. Okay? For example, Buddha did not mention samadhi. Okay? But it is present. Okay? Every moment when you note. You want to note continuously, precisely. There must be samadhi present. Okay? In our case, it's the Kanika Samadhi, the momentary concentration, the moment-to-moment concentration. Okay? This is ekagata, the one-pointedness of mind. Samadhi is actually ekagata, one-pointedness of mind. Okay? So those are present. Yeah? The samadhi is present. Okay? Yeah, but Buddha mentioned only these three. Ardent effort, accurate clarity, and firm mindfulness. Because if you just develop these three, the others will come along. Okay? So And you cannot have as ardent effort, accurate clarity and firm mindfulness without the Cetana, Manasikara, Vitaka, Vichara and so on. Okay? So they will be together in the noting mind. Okay? Okay. So when you follow the Buddha's instruction, so you note kaya kaya anupasi viharati atapi sampajano satima. You note continuously body in the body with ardent effort, accurate clarity and firm mindfulness. So what is the result of this noting? So we come to the third part of the instruction. Vinaya loke abhijja domanasa. So removing desire and displeasure for the world. Okay? This is the result of noting. Okay? So now, removing desire and displeasure. Actually, this refers to removing and overcoming the 5 hindrances. Okay? What is meant is remove the 5 hindrances. Okay? So, desire and displeasure. So, desire represents the first hindrances, sense desire. Okay? The displeasure represents the second of the hindrance, the ill view, right? So now, so when these two are the grosses of the 5 hindrances, okay? So if they can be overcome, that means the other hindrances can also be overcome by this method of noting. So when these two are mentioned, the other 3 hindrances is also included here. Okay? So there is a method of interpreting the Dhamma. So which says that, and this is from the Netipakarana. So it says that when something if you find in the Sutta or Vinaya or wherever in the text, something is mentioned of a certain nature. Okay, is mentioned in the text. Okay, you can include there other things that are of similar nature. So in this case, desire and displeasure are mentioned. They are hindrances. So when these 2 hindrances are mentioned, we can include also the other hindrances. Okay? So because if the method can overcome 1 hindrance, it can overcome all hindrances. Okay? So removing desire and displeasure actually means removing, overcoming the 5 hindrances. Okay? So every moment when you note continuously, moment to moment, precisely. In that moment of noting, where you note with ardent effort, accurate clarity, firm mindfulness, the hindrances have no chance to arise. Okay? So they cannot arise in the mind that is noting carefully with mindfulness. Okay? And with this accurate clarity. Okay? So, and the world, removing desire and displeasure for the world. The world refers to the object that you are noting in that moment. Okay? This is the world of the 5 aggregates that you are noting. Okay? So So that's why for yogi, your world is very small. Your world is just the object that you are noting and nothing else. Okay? You are noting rising. Rising is your world. Okay? Nothing else. You are dwelling in the rising. You're not dwelling in Mangala Lodge or Kampa. You are dwelling in rising. That is your world in that moment. Okay? So you overcome the hindrance with regards to the world. There are no desire for the object or ill will to the object and so on. Okay? So removing. So now commentary mentioned here two types of removing. Two types of vinaya. So there's Tadanga Vinaya and Vikambana Vinaya. Okay? So Tadanga Vinaya means removing by, sometimes they say substitution of opposite, which is a mouthful. So in the Burmese teachers, usually they just say momentary removing. That means removing in that moment. Okay? Just a single moment. This refers to the removing of the hindrance or the defilements by means of Vipassana, by means of insight, knowledge. So every time when you note the object with this insight into the nature of impermanent suffering and non-self. Okay? So in that moment when you note, it is said that the anusaya kilesa, the latent defilements, is removed. Okay, here is just aramana anusaya kilesa, the defilements latent in the object, is removed by means of insight. So that means because in that moment you discern the object, then its nature of impermanent suffering non-self. Right? So in that moment, the defilements cannot arise. Okay? But not only in that moment, later on, when you recollect that object, because when you experience it, all you experience is impermanent suffering and non-self, right? So later on, when you recollect that object, all you remember is nature, impermanent suffering, non-self. Okay? So therefore, when you recollect it also, the defilements cannot arise with regards to that object. So which means the defilements latent in the object has been removed. Okay? So this object that you have noted can no longer give rise to defilements. In that moment as well as later on. It can no longer give rise to defilements. Okay? So the aramana anusaya kilesa, the defilements latent in that object. Greed, hatred or delusion can no longer arise with regards to the object. Okay? So, but Vipassana only remove the latent defilements in the object that you noted. Okay? Not in the object that you don't know. Okay? If you fail to note, because your noting may usually not continuous, right? So, if you fail to note the object with insight, in that moment the defilements may not arise. Okay? But later on, when you recollect the object, it may arise. Because you did not note it, and discern its nature, impermanent suffering, non-self. Okay? So that means the latent defilements can still arise with regards to that object that you have not noted. Okay? So this is called momentary removal. Okay? and it remove only in that moment when you know. Okay, and not in the moment where you don't know. Okay, so you if your mindfulness were to slip for a moment, then the defilements come back. Okay, so this is called Tadanga Vinaya. Okay, and then the second one is Vikambana Vinaya. Okay, this by Vikambana means suppressing. Okay, suppressing means by means of the jhana factors. Okay, so this is removal by means of samadhi. Okay, not by means of vipassana. Okay, so sometimes the teacher say temporary removal. Temporary in the sense is longer than a moment. Okay, because through the jhana factor. So when you have developed kanika samadhi, okay, so the mind is pure. Okay, because of the samadhi, the jhana factors prevents the hindrances, the defilements from arising. Okay? Suppress it. Okay, but this one it lasts longer. Okay, so even after you stop meditation, for a while after you stop meditation, because of that strength of that suppression, the defilements cannot come back immediately. Okay, the mind remains pure. Okay, but not too long. After a while, it come back. You stop meditating too long, it will come back. Okay, so sometimes yogis experience this also. After you finish your retreat, you go back home. You find for first few days your mind still pure. You can resist a lot of very nice object, You're not tempted by it. So mind remain pure. Okay, but after a few days, you come back. So Vipassana yogi experience purification, removal of defilements in these two ways. First by means of samadhi, then later on when you have developed Vipassana, also by means of Vipassana. Okay? Now the removal due to Vipassana is deeper because it removes the anusaya kilesa. Okay? The latent defilements. Okay? So, now, but as we said, it removes only the defilements latent in the object that you know, not in the object that you don't know. Also, it does not remove the defilements latent in the stream of mind. Okay? So that means as long as you have not attained Magga, the noble path, okay, there is a chance that the latent defilements will still arise in the stream of your mind. Okay, your mind is like a stream, consciousness one after another, arising, disappearing, in a stream. Okay, we call this santana, continuity of the mind. Okay, so as long as you have not attained Magga, the defilements can still arise in this stream. Okay, so Vipassana does not remove these defilements latent in the stream. That one can only be removed by Magga, the noble path, which arise at the culmination of the development of Vipassana. Okay, so during practice of Vipassana meditation, there's only removal by means of Vipassana as well as Samadhi. Okay? Not by means of Magga. Magga, the removal by means of Magga is Samucceda, cutting off. That means it's totally cut off the root, so that you can never again arise. Okay? It remove the anusaya kilesa totally. Okay? So no more latent defilements. So Now, another point to make is that when we say removing defilements, it does not mean that you let the defilements arise and then you quickly note and you remove it by noting. It does not mean that. Of course, if the defilements arise, you must note and dispel it by noting. Okay? But what the Buddha meant by removing here is that it means that anupassana. You note continuously. Okay? As you note continuously, moment to moment, you don't give chance for the defilements to arise at all. Okay? By continuously noting, you keep the mind continuously pure, without any defilements arising. So in this way, you remove these hindrances from the mind. Okay? So you overcome, you remove, in the sense of not giving it a chance to arise at all. Okay? Through continuous noting, anupassana. Okay, so we have covered the basic satipatthana instruction. So now you understand the meaning what we chant every morning. Okay, we'll stop here tonight.